I'm Sean Morrison. Today, on our very first episode of Law as a Widget, we're going to talk about the SEC's new crowdfunding rules and whether they're going to be a good match for your business. Let's get started. Unless you've been living under a rock, you've heard of crowdfunding. Sites like Indiegogo and Kickstarter have helped thousands of people raise money for projects as diverse as musical albums, movies, and even video games. But there's been a problem with those models. They've all been based off of donations. And a lot of times the people buying into the product actually want to be able to buy into the company because they're excited about the potential. Unfortunately, there's a lot of rules in place to protect investors from bad investments. One of the most famous, infamous examples was back in 1980 when the state of Massachusetts said it was way too risky for any of its citizens to invest in this new fancy computer company called Apple. And they were essentially locked out of the buying opportunity. New SEC rules have finally gone into place that might change all of that. See, in 2012, President Obama signed the Jobs Act, which brought in a whole new set of rules and changes to the way that we deal with securities in the country. One of the big changes was crowdfunding. Now, Title III of the Jobs Act actually deals with crowdfunding specifically, but the SEC has been really dragging its feet on issuing rules for that. Well, a couple months ago, the SEC dropped a bombshell by issuing rules under a different part of the Jobs Act and a completely different section of the regulations. And what those regulations essentially do is allow crowdfunding to happen under a certain set of guidelines, even though they don't technically call it crowdfunding. The new rules affect Regulation A, which was a specific type and method of raising money. Now they're calling them Regulation A+, which is just a cute way of saying we've changed some of the rules to make it easier for anyone to invest. Before, only accredited investors, read rich people, could participate in these kinds of offerings, and they could only go up to $5 million. Under the new rules, there's two tiers of fundraising, and businesses now have the opportunity to sell shares to a wide range of people, including accredited and non-accredited investors. That's what we call crowdfunding. If you want to read more about how this works and some of the details of the law, we've written a post at Law as a Widget on our blog, and I encourage you to check that out. The link is going to be below this video. So there's two tiers of crowdfunding under the new Reg A+ rules. Tier 1 can raise up to $20 million, and Tier 2 can raise up to $50 million. Now, there's a difference in the number of rules and what needs to be reported on for either class, but those are essentially what the outcome has been. So I know what you're asking right now. How can I get a hold of some of that sweet $50 million? Well, hold on. There's still going to be a number of rules that you have to follow in order to fall into either tier. You're going to have to file a ton of regulatory filings with the SEC. You might even have to file, depending on which tier you're going with the individual states of where your investors are coming from. You're also going to have to hire either an auditor or an accountant to review your numbers before they go out. So what does this mean for you and your business? Well, I think there's still a few problems. First, it's still going to cost a lot of money to get to participate. It's also going to take a long time to get one of these through. And finally, there may be better alternatives. So let's talk about money. Estimates right now are suggesting that a Regulation A plus filing is still going to cost about $100,000 to get all the paperwork together for the SEC. Then you might have to do state filings, and all that before you even start your marketing campaign. It also might take a while. Reg A filings before this new Jobs Act rule, they've been taking about an average of 300 days to get through the process, to start the process. You might not want to have to wait that long. Finally, there might be a better alternative. Regulation D, which was changed a little while back, a couple years ago, might be a better alternative. The catch is mostly limited to accredited investors, like I said, rich people, but hey, that might not be a problem. After all, they've got all the money. Plus, it's been a very, very effective and quick method. Just last year alone, businesses raised about $1 trillion through Regulation D fundraising. With results like that, it might be a much better alternative than trying out the untested Reg A plus funding. So what this all boils down to is that the Reg A plus might be a great way for unaccredited investors to really get a piece of an early, up-and-coming, exciting company. But it might not be the best method for a new small business that's trying to get its foot in the door and trying to reach out to some new funding sources. Either way, we'll keep you updated as this new law finds its feet. This is Sean Morrison, and thanks for watching Law as a Widget.